जो कि किसी परिचय को मोहताज नहीं है। हमारे प्रो वाइस चांसलर सर डॉक्टर जी एन सक्सेना सर पधार चुके हैं और मैं निवेदन करूंगा, आवाज देना चाहूंगा सर को, और इनके साथ ही हमारे मेडिकल सुप्रिटेंडेंट डॉक्टर आर सी गुप्ता सर। भगवान गणेश के चित्र पर दीप प्रज्वलन, पूजा अर्चना आराधना वंदना के साथ में होता है।
अभिनंदन है इस वर्कशॉप में, और मैं आशा करता हूं कि आप यहाँ से काफ़ी ज्ञान प्राप्त करके उसको मरीजों की भलाई के लिए इस्तेमाल करेंगे। बहुत बहुत आपका अभिनंदन है।
बहुत जब पोस्टर की होगी तो हम पहले अपनी पोस्टर ठीक कर लें। मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा सभी डेलीगेट्स को आगे की सीट पर आ जाए तो अपना इंटरेक्शन अच्छा हो जाए। प्लीज कम एंड पोस्टर। Lifestyle. In the lifestyle also, we will be talking about the good lifestyle. And posture is of course one of the elements of the good lifestyle. I am glad to see all of you here. Frankly speaking, my imagination was that many more people should have come here. Because we have got 4 departments in this hospital who are, since you have come, it shows your keen interest, and I'm sure you will be benefited by the upcoming lectures, and you will widen your existing knowledge on this subject. On behalf of the Mahatma Gandhi University of Medical Science and Technology and Mahatma Gandhi Hospital and College, I welcome you all to this workshop. Posture is definitely related to our lifestyle, and bad posture leads to so many ailments like backache, neck pain, and
या जो चक्कर आया किसी को या गर्दन में दर्द हुआ तब समझ में आया कि तो टेढ़े टेढ़े पड़े जा रहे हैं या उसको करे जा रहे हैं। कुछ छोटी चीज़ है पोस्चर की बात है। अब तो ज़्यादा साइंटिफिक, ज़्यादा डिटेल्ड बात आपको आज दिन भर you will be listening to various talks on all this, but 2-3 चीज़ें जो मुझे ध्यान है अपने MBBS डेज से। मैं जब MBBS स्टूडेंट था तो हमारे टीचर थे जिन्होंने पोस्चर के बारे में हमारे को बहुत पढ़ाया था उस समय। Then he has a famous name because he developed the Jaipur foot, and I am sure.
Express my special thanks to Dr. Mrinal Joshi. He is looking for me outside. I'll go there and उनको मैं लेकर आता हूँ। But thank you sir, thank you very much for your sparing your precious time, and we assure you that we'll do lot of new development in this field and will give good result in with time. Thank you sir, thank you very much. Lecturer, I'll call Dr. U Singh. He is our current HOD. He is retired as HOD AIMS in 2021, and since then he is with us. He did his MBBS in 1978. After that he did DPMR and DMB-PMR.
Children, and that showed in a place where they used to teach like a Pathshala, where Panditjis were produced, a lot of Veda studies were being done, and everybody had just a choti. Guruji would make that choti be tied to the roof so that in case anybody slouches or tends to fall asleep, they will stand erect. So that is one of the good things which reminds us of a good posture as a child. This is what I am going to talk about during my lecture. But I tell you how I got influenced in the early days. The important thing he says, to have a good posture. Of course, everybody wants to get old gracefully, and that can happen only with a good posture. Most of the guitarists would bend down, look at the way he is standing up and keeping the shoulders absolutely braced. So he wants to be healthy and be an example for his children in his old age as well. So he is successful. Coming to the working definitions. If we go by the dictionary meaning, the way somebody holds the shoulders, neck and back, or in case a particular position in which someone sits, stands, walks, etc., etc. So this is the dictionary meaning. Coming to the medical description, it's a position where body is kept upright against gravity. Otherwise, we will simply collapse on the ground if we had no bones, no muscles, or no ligaments. So we have to work on the positions, sitting, standing, walking, doing many things. And the posture which puts the least strain on the muscles and the ligaments is a good posture. And how we attain that is done with the alignment of the body parts, having a lot of interactions between the various structures. And in case we say how this configuration is done for the stability. If we see in a nutshell, it is the muscle length and the muscle strength which matters. Your hamstrings are tight, your back will become arched. And your muscles are weak, you will tend to slouch and work on the ligaments and cause more aches and pains. Coming to the various types, the two broad categories, dynamic when we are moving, like walking, running, bending, doing various activities, or static, most of the times this standing, sitting, and the least we are aware of sleeping. But we do have number of people coming in the morning that as soon as I get up from the bed, I have pain. So we'll discuss about a good posture. A standing posture, as you see here, the head is on the top, aligned with the rest of the spine, not leaning forward or backward or right or left. And the shoulders are not like this, they are drawn back, just like you see most of the military man in the attention position. The tummy has to be tucked in, not protruded like this. Hips and knees are supposed to be in neutral position, as you see in the figure here, and the feet has to be as apart as the shoulder width. And the body weight has to be distributed evenly, not like this or like this. Of course, very simple methods of assessment are there. You can look at a person, you can have a plumb line, you can have a grid at the back, but sophisticated and accurate diagnosis, specifically for persons who have pathologies or when you are doing research, it has to be done with the equipment which you might be having a demonstration later tonight. There's a very simple test. In case you find a wall and you stand against it this time, you stand here 2 to 4 feet in front with your head, shoulders and the hips touching, and then try to tuck the tummy in so that there is only one palm space behind your back. So that is the best way you can check your posture or posture of the patients in case you don't have an equipment. And then make them learn that whenever they get away from the wall, they maintain the same postures. Do this position and then come back in the same position as they are. It's very common these days because of the online classes, online meetings, how people work at home. The children are so much burdened that they can't even remember to maintain a good posture, and of course the couch potatoes. When they are sitting, working or playing or doing anything, odd postures are very common. And nowadays with the mobile phone in the hands of the children, even for classes, they attain very bad postures, and the neck pains, back pains, muscle pain, joint pains, they are all coming up very badly. For a good position in sitting, as we discussed about standing, the head again has to be straight, as if the English people, English mothers used to tell their children, think as if somebody is pulling your ears up and you are sitting erect. And in case you see the posture of most of the English ladies specifically, they sit just like this, with the chin tucked in and the shoulders straight. And we normally sit very slouched because even though our mothers or parents or elders tell us, we ignore them. The back has to be straight, shoulders have to be held back. And the important thing is that the back has to touch the back of the chair, and the knees and the hips at 90 degrees, as much as parallel to the ground, and the feet touching the ground. It's very important when we maintain a good posture. In case you get tired, you must get up a little early and and then maintain the same posture. Otherwise, we'll get tired sitting for a long period of time. Of course, the same position has to be maintained by altering how we keep our laptops or the computer screens. It's best to have a separate screen at the level of the eyes while sitting, and the elbows at 90 degrees relaxed when we are doing the typing, not having a laptop on the top and then doing like this as the children do on a table. So you can see the poor posture on the left and the correct posture on the right. This is how we have to maintain it. Now, since people are into gaming for long hours, they do online gamings or otherwise, they have developed gaming chairs which try to give you relaxation in the erect posture compared to the computer chairs as you see on the extreme right, so that they don't tend to slouch. Sleeping is extremely difficult because we can't maintain one position consciously. In case we are conscious, we are not sleeping. So it is important that the pillow height when you are sleeping, supine or erect or on the side, is in line with the spine. It is not bent. And the sleeping mattress has to be soft enough to conform to your contours of the body, but not hard, not to have the contours of the body be filled with the mattress, because body is not a straight plank. So these are a few things which I can tell, because otherwise it becomes a 2-hour class to tell you what are the various things. We all know about lifting, that we don't have to bend like this. We have to bend from the knees and keep the weight close to ourselves so that it doesn't cause stress on the back. And when we are lifting the bag, as you see on your right, it has to be with the back straight and the knees bent, lifted like this rather than like this. When carrying a bag, it's a fashion to keep the bag on one shoulder, just like you see the lady on the right. And you see, to prevent the bag slipping off, the person has to push the shoulder up. And look at the bag in case it's kept across, in the middle, the lady in the blue, or having a backpack. It tends to keep your body erect. This is a better way to carry the bag. Because of complex reasons, I am not covering walking, running, playing and other activity postures, because that will become too much. It's just an introduction. Perhaps we'll have understanding in the dynamics. Now we have the implications of the good, the bad and the posture. The good posture definitely, as we know, can prevent the muscle strains and the pains. Of course, we can reduce down the overuse disorders, the back pain, stress in the ligaments, or abnormal wearing or wear and tear of the joints. At the same time, poor posture leads to bad alignment, muscle aches, the increased shear forces in the spine and other joints, compression of the discs and other joint structures, and naturally compression of the nerves, and lead on to overuse injuries. So these are the things we have to see, the things in italics that we have to take care. There is also psychology behind the posture. They say that the patterns of the body movements are indicative of a particular emotion. Just like you see in the pictures, somebody who is disappointed has a slumped posture, and somebody who is angry is just facing you, and somebody who is trying to avoid you is trying to do like this, and things like. So you learn about what is the body language. And open, just like the boy on the blue, is having a friendly and a positive kind of an attitude or a posture, and the closed, detached, disinterested might mean either he is being protective or is trying to avoid the hostility from the other places. The posture has a language which is called the body language, and whatever postures you attain, you are trying to convey something, and it's a showcase of your emotions. And as you see here, slumped posture means depressed or low spirit, and erect means you are confident and energetic. Leaning forward, trying to listen to somebody, that means that I am open and interested in what you are saying. Leaning away, oh, what the hell, I am not interested in what you are speaking. So this means I am being very defensive. That I don't want to, you are trying to attack me, I'll still resist myself, it's close. I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to receive what you are saying. So information, what is obtained from the different postures can be because of these things. I mean, you can get these informations from the type of posture that a person does. And it definitely plays a critical role in the interpersonal relationships when we are talking about things, not just for our body, but we are social human beings and we have to interact with people. Unless we have a good posture, we will not be able to have a good social bonding. So it has a lot of implication. So what are the benefits? Elevates the mood, improves the learning, memory, it gives you a very powerful look, it naturally becomes you tall and slimmer because your tummy is starting, and it also improves the testosterone. And you have better breathing, you can breathe very easily and a deeper voice rather than a slumped high tone voice. So it has been studied that not only the better posture handles the stress better and is good for athletics, sports and confidence, but the most important thing is it has been also found that the mathematical ability improves in case you have a better posture, maybe because of better breathing, more oxygenation and more cognition. These are my references. Thank you very much. So maybe you can become
ourselves and Dr. Pawan and a team work with Dr. Sonu Singh to get along. To get out means the boundaries of this science. The innovation starts when we get rid of the boundaries. I'm a man of computational science. Dr. Pawan, who is there, will talk on experimental part. So, Professor U Singh talked about this development of the muscles strength and the disc strength. So as an engineer, we need to quantify the experimental part that is being done by the doctors. And here is the, what I see a great potential when an engineering institute collaborates with a medical fraternity. It normally happens in the US in other way, but in Indian scenario it is little limited, but I really appreciate Dr. Sonu Singh this. I will talk on human postures, predictions, rules and techniques. I am a man of computational mathematics, so I will use how actually we predict it. This may be a little more on mathematical foundations, but this is important from point of view that we need to quantify the experiments, the results that is being carried out with the various subjects and patients in the different hospitals. So how we do that, and what it is, how I do in my own research areas. This is just a quick review, what we call a biomechanics, its application of forces to living organism and their investigation of the effect of these forces on the human body. These are external forces acting on the body. And as a medical fraternity, you know, this is a kinesiology, is the term extensively being used synonymously for the biomechanics groups. What I will talk today, how I use signal processing of the data and three-dimensional kinetics and computer-aided finite simulation for quantifying the experimental results. Just have a quick review that what we call a three-dimensional kinetics. See, when the data comes to the engineers looks to quantify, to put in some equations, to put in a modeling so that it can be used as a technologies to develop a product and devices. And once we do it, once we based on assumptions, the moment we do certain assumptions, the errors are bound to come. So what we do is, we see that anatomical segments are rigid body, whereas as an engineer we know that there is nothing in this world purely rigid, but still we do it because we need a workable solution, workable device, workable technology, workable innovation. So we put certain assumptions and two terms we use here. One is the forward dynamics, one is the inverse dynamics. What is the forward dynamics? Forward dynamics, it's like that we know that when you apply a force, it will move, it will have acceleration. That is a forward dynamics. But in the case of human motion, it is a reverse dynamics. What is that? we actually capture, you see, we capture the motion, we capture the position, we capture the acceleration, but we do not know the forces, how much forces are coming within the joints, within the body, how to get it. That is the quantification. And very recently, we are discussing here with the exercise science and medical team how we can quantify the stress distribution and force distribution in C5, C6 bulging, which happens in this case of the penis. If you can redistribute the forces between C5 and C6, the cases of C5, C6 that is coming to the hospitals possibly can be reduced. So we are trying to work out a methodology and mathematical model so that it can be patient specific and can be reduced. So that is called actually a reverse dynamics. We know the position, we know the location, we know the movement, but we do not know the forces and the stresses within the body, within the joints. So we take care of by the reverse dynamics. What we do is we capture here itself. As for example, once we do a reverse dynamics, then we calculate the forces within the body acting. As for example, I have shown a part of this foot where we are trying to calculate the forces acting within the foot. How we do that? We apply the well-known equations of the Newton's and Euler equations. This is very well-known equations. Equations are very simple, and I tell you this way, when I take the classes of the machine design, mechanical design, kinematics design, then I always tell my students, see, engineers work in a very simple fashion. Whatever the complex situation, we discretize into small, doable functions. And that's why we are working to develop a framework. So we use a very small, well-known equations and Newton's and Euler's equations to find the forces within the body acting on this. So you can say that we make a link, our foot is a single rigid body, whereas it is not. But as far as it is a working model, we accept it with certain errors. So we get a fluid diagram, and with this fluid diagram, we analyze the forces, what is happening within the body itself, and then we calculate the forces and torques by the equations. These are the simple equations looking a little complex, but I have tried to make it more simpler by the name that of a Newton and Euler equations. Possibly everybody, every doctors and every engineer knows about it. So this is the reverse dynamics mechanism engineers use in conjunction with the doctor's result of experimental part. And then we put this all segmentation to get a joint forces and movements, how much forces coming to the joints and joints at different parts of the bodies. So this is a reverse dynamics, we have used it, and this is the reverse dynamics. By use of this reverse dynamics, the gate analysis is normally carried out. This is the clip of one of the papers that we published with Dr. Sonu Singh and Dr. Pawan. So you see, the calculation of the forces happening at knee and ankle within the body is being calculated by the reverse dynamics method. So this is the one way. Another that I practice in my own research is the signal process. Again, the quantification of the data. Quantification means what is signal? So signal is, we call it anything which is a time and space varying quantity, and waveform is a combination of noise plus signal. So noise.
Now we are into a stage where we just cannot part with our phone. And even we have seen sometimes when we forget our phone, we become restless. That where is my phone? It is like an extension of our own body and mind. Now in this particular study, there were 1,000 children and the average age was 12 years. The average time of online play activity was 75 minutes. And there was a negative relationship between the tablet use and headache and neck pain. And it was more likely because of the use of tablet or mobile in a wrong posture or position.